Except that we want an entry signal. Maybe I put the entry signal further back, actually. Does Trump still have actual supporters, says Wesley? I think like 39% was the last poll. 39% support, which is a little bit alarming, to be honest. That it's that high. Okay, so I think what we need to do is extend this by 1, 2, and 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So if we put a 1 here, that is a 1, good. And then we pull the signal out of here. Oops, wrong one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We set that. And then the junction previously has to be the pass forward. Okay, no, this is fine. I think. Alright, let me see if I can remember this. Also, I feel like this probably could be lower. Fox says the problem is Trump is basically doing what he said he would do on his election run. Yeah, no, he is, yeah. I mean, he kind of is, but I get the impression that people didn't really understand what he meant when he was campaigning. I mean, how many of his voters understood what it means to raise tariffs on China, for example? I think I want to lower this by a block. He's building a theoretical wall. I wish he would build a real one too. The Great Wall of America. I mean, he is making Americans pay for it. I mean, building a theoretical wall is interesting and all. But we want the physical evidence, right? So that 50 years from now we can look back the way we look at the Berlin Wall, for example. Fox says more than you would expect and less than you would like would be my guess. So I think we should have a physical wall, so that future generations can point to it and say, alright kids, this is what you don't do. Wesley says there's enough examples. I guess so. Look, I study architecture, alright guys? I just want something physical built. I appreciate the physicality of actual architecture. I know we are building a train network, and I do like the train network. Just saying that, you know, the wall would be an interesting monument 50 years from now. Just think of all the money that would waste. It's like Nero's Golden House. Do you guys know about Nero's Golden House? This is back in ancient Rome. Have I talked about Nero's Golden House? If Trump would build a wall, he's gonna claim it's gonna be the next world wonder. Well, maybe it should be. Can we like have a world wonder or a list of world wonders that are actually monuments to human folly? So Emperor Nero was the one who, according to legend, played a fiddle as Rome burned. The Great Fire of Rome. Okay, I haven't talked about Nero's Golden House. So Nero's Golden House is a curious architectural ruin because people can't quite figure out what it is. It's like after the Great Fire of Rome, Nero demolished a bunch of neighborhoods in Rome and started building Nero's Golden House, which, as I said, nobody could quite figure out what it is. It's like a palace, but it's not private. It's kind of like a mix between a palace, a library, and a public bath. Do you know how the Romans had public baths? And so one possibility was that Nero tried to build a public palace. Like a palace for the people, if that makes sense. One theory is that he tried to build a palace for the people without any understanding of what the people actually need in their lives, because he demolished a whole neighborhood to put this in. So he demolished people's houses, he demolished people's homes, he demolished people's businesses, and he just demolished a huge section of Rome to build a giant palace which seemed like it was publicly accessible. And yeah, the theory is that it's actually a public palace. And Nero was famous for being extravagant and also not really understanding how anything works. Yeah, it's kind of like that. He tried to do good the wrong way. And it's possible that he figured, well, you know, I love palaces. Me, being the emperor of Rome, I love palaces. Let's give everybody a palace. Not understanding that what people actually need is like their homes and jobs. Anyway, we don't know exactly what Nero's Golden House is, but that's one possibility. It could be something else. It could be just... but whatever it is, it seems kind of useless and it seems really extravagant. That's what we know. And of course, the moment Nero was removed from power, I don't know if he died or not. I forgot how he was removed from power. But the moment he was removed from power, they demolished Nero's Golden House and they built something else on top. Yeah, it existed. It still exists. They demolished it and then they built on top of it. They built actual useful things on top. But they're excavating now. In fact, I can just look it up on Wikipedia. Nero's Golden House is Domus Aurea is the Latin word for it. A vast landscaped palace built by Emperor Nero in the heart of ancient Rome after the Great Fire in 64 AD had destroyed a large part of the city and the aristocratic villas on the Palatine Hill. Yeah, so the fire destroyed the whole place, And then he built a palace there. When the edifice was finished in this style and he dedicated it, he deigned to say nothing more in the way of approval than that he had at last begun to live like a human being. So, it's a giant palace in what used to be the middle of Rome that got burned down by a fire, and he was blamed for not doing anything to stop the fire. Let me see. Rooms sheathed in dazzling polished white marble were given richly varied floor plans, shaped with niches and exedras that concentrated or dispersed the daylight. It's so extravagant. There were pools in the floors and fountains splashing in the corridors. Nero took great interest in every detail of the project. The Golden House was designed as a place of entertainment, as shown by the presence of 300 rooms without any sleeping quarter. Nero's own palace remained on the Quirinal Hill. No kitchens or latrines have been discovered. Yeah, so it's like it's a palace, but there's no sleeping quarters. There's no kitchens, there's no latrines. So it's a palace, but it's not, like you can't live in it. And it has like 300 rooms that are all richly decorated, but nobody can live there because there's no living facilities. I mean, presumably it's a park. It's like a palace park, right? The extensive gold leaf that gave the villa its name was not the only extravagant element of its decor. Stuccoed ceilings were faced with semi-precious stones and ivory veneers. Ivory veneers! Ivory! While the walls were frescoed, coordinating the decoration into different themes in each major group of rooms. It doesn't say what it was to be used for. Countryside in the city. Maybe it wasn't finished, says Wesley. No, it was finished. It was finished and then it was abruptly demolished and repurposed for more useful purposes afterwards. It's it's the strangest thing. It's like it's the most useless. It's a palace that you can't actually live in. Anyway, that's Nero, and I like to compare Nero with Trump. Like being so rich, and yet so ignorant, that you just don't understand how anything works. There's over 300 rooms, but no sleeping quarters, no kitchens, no latrines. It's just a useless thing. It's like a really extravagant, useless thing. Alright, so the previous one, we need to be another one of these. Which maybe I should just put it as close as possible. Here? I kind of forgot how this goes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But this thing is 5 blocks wide. One, two, three, four, 5. Maybe that works. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But it's... oh, it's not even correct. Wait a minute. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh, it's not joined up, my bad. Let me put that there. So 15, that's 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I want, guys, Wesley and Fox, is I want the wall to be like Nero's Golden House. I want it to be like a magnificent wall that spans the entire Mexico-US border. It's gonna be like 50 feet tall, bristling with defenses. And then people are gonna dig it up 1,000 years from now and they're like, but this doesn't do anything. But this literally doesn't do anything. One, two, three, 4, 5. Or do I want it closer? Wait a minute. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I put it there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, this is better. Would they say that about a wall though, says Wesley? Well, they do say that about the Great Wall of China. Like, the historians do say the Great Wall didn't actually do very much. So yes, I think they would. Let's put that there. And then we need more gold blocks. Wesley says, wasn't the War of China to keep the Mandarin out? Yeah, but, I mean, they got in eventually. It's been a long time since history lesson. I mean, it was meant to keep the northern tribes, the Mongols. But you know, eventually the Mongols conquered China anyway, is the point. Like, it was meant to keep them out, but then it didn't really keep them out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey, where am I? Oh, pistons there. Also, it's 4:20, so I guess we should stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just put some pistons down for now. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Uh, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm gonna come back next week and continue building this junction. I think this is correct. I'm having a hard time remembering this stuff. Alright, I'm gonna end the video for YouTube and continue building this junction next week.